Good afternoon. I'm Carolyn Rice, School Board Chair, and the administrative, informal, and workshop session of this meeting of the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach is hereby convened at 4:01 p.m. on this 13th day of June 2022. Members of the public, as always, will be able to observe this meeting through live streaming on vbschools.com, broadcast on VBTV Channel 47, and on Zoom. It's our protocol to break at 5:30 to prepare for the 6 o'clock formal session, unless the school board votes to continue until 5:45. That would be a hard stop time to allow the school board and school administration to prepare for the formal session of the school board meeting at 6 o'clock p.m. So, Madam Clerk, would you please announce those school board members in attendance?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in the Einstein Lab are Chairwoman Rye, Vice Chair Melvin, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Felton, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Hughes, and Ms. Owens.
And for the record, Mrs. Holtz and Mrs. Manning are both absent today due to personal reasons. So we are going to begin our session with Mr. David Dinh, our Department of Technology Chief. Mr. Dinh.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I hope that everyone had an opportunity to review the email that I sent with the Google Group email address for the school board. I'm happy to cover everything, just to give you a quick synopsis of what we're going to be doing essentially. We're going to be changing the email address that the public and that staff use to communicate with all of the school board. You will keep your individual email addresses as is, but the email address that goes to the entire board will change to the new email address as detailed in the email that you received. So I'm open to answering any questions that you may have. The one item that we do need to address for this particular session is when we go ahead and implement this change. As you noticed in my email, I would recommend doing it as soon as possible to prevent any further missed emails. So that's my recommendation, but I'm open to any questions or suggestions that the board may have.
When did you send that email? Because I don't think I got it.
It was sent, I specifically sent it directly to each person's email address, so I did not use the Google group, so.
It was last night, Mr. Dinh?
It
right?
was
I read it
late.
last night. It was yesterday afternoon or?
It was last night, approximately 9 o'clock. So just a quick synopsis, again, we're just going to be changing that main email address, which is vbcpsboard@googlegroups.com. The new email address will be schoolboard@vbcpsboard.com. And our intention is to go ahead and update the vbschools.com website with that new email address. Just update that link so it points to the new email address. And we will set up an autoresponder on the current Google Groups email address so that if anyone sends an email to it, it will automatically respond and let them know that the school board no longer accepts emails at this address and to use the new address to communicate with the school board moving forward.
Is June 15th too soon?
It doesn't take us very long to implement, so we're happy to do it as soon as the board would like.
The content of that email also said to make sure that the emails aren't going to junk or spam, or that they're not accidentally blocked for some reason.
Yep, we want to make sure, because you do have controls within Outlook, within your own email client, to be able to say, I no longer want to receive emails from so-and-so. We want to make sure that you don't do that to emails from that address. Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Who did you say the new school board
Trinity's gonna
at?
be late.
Schoolboard@vbcpsboard.com.
My recommendation is June 15th.
And Mr. Maybe you could re-forward it to
I
Mrs.
can
Hughes.
certainly make sure to send that to you.
Yeah, I'm looking, I just don't see it, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Well, I want to say thank you for the time that's gone into
Yes.
this, because I understand that there were various solutions that were researched, right? And it just took time to figure out what would work for us.
Yeah,
Is the
absolutely.
summation.
Yeah, there's always that balance that we try to keep between security and functionality, right? And the previous solution that we were looking at, which was, if you recall, the form solution for accepting messages from the public, it just didn't have all the functionality that the board really wanted. And so we tried to find a solution that worked for what the board needed.
So I guess this is more a comment than a question, but I would just ask all of us, this is going to move forward, but if we come across some glitches or beeps, certainly let Mr. Din and me know, because there might still be things that weren't considered until it's actually in active use by 11 different people, right?
Absolutely. And we understand and know that organizations that you all regularly communicate with that use that email address to communicate with the board, they will need to update their own systems in order to be able to communicate to the board. So I'm certainly going to be looking for your help to make sure that those organizations are aware, in addition to them understanding that auto response email that they get will have that new email address and that they need to update their systems as well.
So I would suggest though making sure that it's front and center, once it starts, front and center for a while on our website,
We can do that.
like, prominent, in a prominent place, so that when people come to that website, they see that right away, because a lot of people are used to the Google Groups one, and they
Sure.
get confused.
So when you come to the page where our pictures are, something on there? Is there-
Maybe
Yeah.
she's suggesting on the top versus on the bottom.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Sure.
agree.
We can do that.
I just have a question. I know that before when we talked about that little form, does that mean we are no longer doing any form, or there is still a form and it's linked to this new address?
No, that's correct. We will not be doing any form. It will simply be a link on the website that goes directly to this address.
All right, then we'll keep our fingers crossed.
And you'll let us know when it is completely active?
Absolutely. Are we going with June 15th?
It sounds good.
Yes.
You,
So as of the end of the day.
that's 2 days, right, from now?
That's right.
Because you
So-
said that would be enough time for you.
Sure, absolutely. So as of the end of the day, on June 15th, close of business, June 15th, this will be active. Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
So I'll squeeze in my one admin matter, and then we'll give everybody else a quick opportunity. So with the annual committee assignments, Madam Clerk,
Yes,
you have the hard copies?
it should be in all their packets of stuff that they will
Okay.
need out.
So I did remind you all ahead of time, this is also posted on our SharePoint site, but now you have a hard copy of the press. It just reminds you of all the different committees and liaison assignments. So I thought it would be fair if Mrs. Melnick and I asked, if at all possible by Friday, if you could get to us, let us know interests and preferences. So even if you're serving in something now, you need to let us know if you'd like to be considered to continue in that role or any
I don't
different role.
We don't have them.
Is it in the other room with our other stuff?
No, it should be with,
Well, we can get them to you before you
Oh,
leave
it's
today,
right
for
here.
sure.
Where?
It looks like
Oh, it's
this.
in the bylaw. Okay,
Oh.
so looking directly at it and saying you want it.
Yeah.
So, and I will put this out in writing for the benefit also of our two members absent today.
Oh, I see.
So again, just shoot for Friday, but I sent the email out Friday to get you thinking about it, and so that's really all there is to cover there. So with that, anybody else with an admin matter before we read into closed?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd just like to do just a small update for the VSBA meeting I attended in June. Just to remind all of my colleagues, if you have any information about what went on, we can touch base with it. But it was a few policies that came down from the assembly that I have recently passed on to the PRC to look at, because some of those look like we need to revisit our policy to see if we update it, because some of them have to be adjusted by July the 1st. But when you look at a lot of the policy that they passed down from the assembly, it looked as though they went into our policy and looked at some of what we had and just used those and just interjected one or two of their wording. But I'm sure that we're up to date, but I just want to make sure that we are up to date with the small wording that the changes they made and some of the other changes that they are also talking about. I was really impressed with one of the concerns that they had concerning special education, and I won't dabble that long, but it's a case that they're using that we might want to really look at, because it looks like it's going to be a model for all lawyers when it comes down to special education. And I would ask Ms. Lynn, is Ms. Lynn in? No. It is a case in Dowell versus versus, and it's a very good case. It looks like a lot of lawyers are going to be using that as a model to for special education. If anyone is interested, I can forward it to you later so you can look at it. It's a long read, short read, but you might want to look at it to get yourself familiar with this case that's coming out that they're using. So pretty much that's what it is, and just to make sure that we update on our policies. July 1st. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, so for the benefit of the public, we're gonna, I'll be.
I had something.
Okay.
So, Ms. Linetti has been updating the policy committee on things that need to come up. We're aware of that, of many of the changes already, so we're working on that for the policy. Also, just to reiterate for some of you who weren't here, I received an email earlier, or maybe it was yesterday, and I forwarded it to everyone on the board concerning Juneteenth. So look for that email. It's a little invitation for an event that they're having. So
Thank you. All right, then, for the benefit of the public, we'll be reading into a closed session, and we still have one remaining workshop item, professional development update. So with that, Mrs. Melnick, would you please read into closed session?
I move that the school board recess into closed session to deliberate on the following matters. Into a closed meeting pursuant to the exemptions from open meetings allowed by section 2.2-3711 Part A, paragraphs 1, 8 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended for discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. Consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter, namely to discuss with outside legal counsel regarding the school board's attorney's employment contract terms. I moved.
So a second. Mrs. Anderson, all in favor, please show a raised hand.
We have 8 ayes to go into close. The motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, so colleagues, we have,
Do we need to make sure you're not on
Let's just
there?
wait 1 moment.
they're still pointing at us, so need to make sure they're off.
Virginia Beach has convened the closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of the City of Virginia Beach hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered.
okay, motion to approve the certification, Mrs. Hughes, and a second, Mrs. Franklin, all in favor, a raised hand.
We have 9 ayes. The motion passed.
Thank you all. All right, so this informal meeting is adjourned, and we will continue with professional development, informal meeting agenda item 17, and we'll note that at the time of agenda adoption.
Thank you.